learning about the artist Mondrian. And he has a unique style of art that he developed over his lifetime that he is really famous for. And a lot of other people like to use this style of design. You can see one right behind me here, of vertical and horizontal lines using just the primary colors. Today we're going to work on the lines. Next week we'll worry about the color. This is Piet Mondrian, sometimes pronounced Piet Mondrian. He's a Dutch painter, which means he's from the Netherlands, and he was born in 1872 and died in 1944. He's best known for this style of art where he uses vertical and horizontal lines and then colors in some of the boxes with primary colors. He started off as a representational artist, which means you can recognize some of the things in his pictures, like trees. But as he painted more and more, he was drawn to the abstract style, which just means you can't always recognize the objects. His designs became so popular that you may see them on other things like clothing, tennis shoes, and bags. Okay, artists, so I've got my piece of paper here. It's just a regular white piece of paper. If you need to do this on notebook paper, that's fine too. If you're at school with me today, we're going to use the paper and gluing technique. If you're at home, you can do this too, or you can do this with crayon or marker. So if you're at school, we're going to get two lines that are tall and long and two shorter lines like this. And we're going to make all the lines for our Mondrian picture using just those two lines. Now we will be cutting and gluing some of those, but let's just start with one of the long lines. This is going to be a vertical line. A vertical line, remember, is a line that goes from top to bottom on your paper, and our line is going to be nice and straight. If you want to put it right in the middle, you can do that. If you want it to go on the side, that's good, but don't put it right on the edge of your paper. Always make sure there's a little bit of white showing. So I'm going to put the glue on mine, just using the edge of my glue stick, the corner, and I'm going to turn that over and make sure it goes from the top to the bottom. Remember, try to have it vertical, not diagonal. And now I'm going to use one of the short lines. I'm not going to do it vertical. This time I'm going to do it horizontal. Horizontal means that it's a line that goes from side to side, from right to left or left to right. And just like the vertical line, you get to decide where to put that on your paper. You can put one that is up near the top, in the middle, or near the bottom. You get to decide, and when you've decided, put it on your paper. Now, these other two lines, you could, honestly, if you really wanted to, just put them like this and be a tic-tac-toe. But I think we can do something a little bit more with it. So I am going to take one of my lines here. So I'll take my horizontal short line. And what I'm going to do, instead of just gluing it straight on here like before, I'm going to take my scissors and I am going to, right where that other line meets it, I'm going to snip it. And the neat thing about cutting it right where the vertical line was, is I can put glue on this part, but instead of keeping it right next to that other part, I'm going to move it. And then I can glue this one on too. What you don't want to do though, is just have a line hanging out here and not making a box. The goal today is to try to keep our lines going from the edge or to another line. Now I still have one vertical line left, which I could just glue on again like this, or if I'm feeling like I want to change it up a bit, I can take my scissors, careful here, move my fingers out of the way, snip that, then I can glue this part, but maybe I'm not going to leave it here, maybe I'm going to put it over here. And I could just glue that on like it is, or just like before, I can cut it. It gives me all kind of options when you're making your lines today. Oh, can I do this? No, that's a diagonal line. So I think I will move this to a different place. I could put it down here. Oh, maybe I will. But Do you see what happened here? I've got a line that's hanging off, but it's not touching all the way to the other line. So I think what I'll do is I will cut that. Let's get some glue on this line. I think I had a little glue there anyway from when I was gluing my other line. Make sure it goes all the way to the bottom. Now I still have this little piece. I could put it here. I could put it here. Could even put it there. Wherever you decide to put it, if you have a little bit left over, you don't have to keep using every little tiny piece, but if you don't have any pieces left over, that's fine too. Okay, so if you're at school, this is where you would stop for the day, and you would want to make sure your name and code is on here. Now, if you're at home and you don't have the black paper to do this with, let me show you another way. You would take your white piece of paper, and remember, it doesn't have to be perfectly white. It could be just a notebook piece of paper. And what you're going to do is draw your lines if you don't have the paper at home. Now, it's tricky though to keep your lines straight. So what you need to do is find something that has a straight edge. Now, a ruler works great for drawing straight lines. You just hold it like this and put your pencil right next to it. But if you don't have a ruler at home, let me show you something else you could use. You could use the side of a pencil box. Oh, it didn't go all the way to the edge, so I'm just going to slide that over a little bit, keep it lined up. Now I've made a horizontal line and a vertical line, and I can start making some of these other kinds of lines. If you don't have a box like this, you could also even just use another stiff piece of paper. You could just use another piece of paper to make some of your lines. You could use the edge of a notebook. You could even use a marker to get some straight lines, or another pencil. Now, once you have the lines drawn, you would want to either take a black crayon or a black marker and then trace these lines. Now, here's the deal. When you're tracing these lines, you want to make sure they're nice and thick. So you might have noticed I've kind of leaned my marker over so the flat part over here is on the paper. It's always easier for me to start at the top of my line and then just pull towards my body too. That helps me keep it nice and straight. If you're using just the tip, you're going to end up with really thin lines, and they're not going to show up as good as if you lean it over. See the difference? Sometimes I'll even go over my lines 2 times just to make sure they're extra thick. If you are using a marker like me, be careful. The marker likes to smear if you touch it and it's still wet, so watch out for that. I'm trying not to hold on to any places that might still be wet. Okay, so if you did it with marker or a crayon today, you would want to save this for next time. And next time we're going to be adding color to this. Don't color anything today. We're going to leave it just the way it is until next time. I think you've worked hard enough today. So until next time, I'll see you. Goodbye.